I've been tracking every dollar I spend and every dollar I make for almost a decade now. I honestly can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. If you look into my channel, I'm not sure if it's still public, but I made a video about saving or budgeting as a student when I was in high school. So yes, since I was in high school, I was already budgeting. You're probably watching this video because you either want to learn how to budget or you're already budgeting and you just want to see how other people do it. Whether you're one or the other, I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope I can learn something from you as well. So if you have any thoughts, if you have any recommendations, suggestions as to how I can also improve on my budgeting system, let me know down in the comments below. Okay, let's get started. I mentioned a while ago that my budgeting system has changed by a lot. That just means my lifestyle has changed, my style has changed, and so has my knowledge of finance and money. Back in high school, all I had to do was receive my allowance from my parents and make sure that it keeps me alive for a week and save up some of it. I was only using that big blue notebook with the record, like the big word record on it. I saw it from my mom and I learned how to write on it because of her, because she's an accountant. And I think that's also why I loved budgeting ever since I was a kid, because my mom taught me the foundations of budgeting and trying to keep your money, like how to save money, how to make your money work for you, and all those shenanigans. But now my situation has gone more complex. I'm now here in Canada. I had this talk with my parents to let them know that I wanted to be more financially independent. And to be honest with you, I think both sides, like me and my parents, were so happy that I was finally getting this mindset of wanting to be financially independent. My parents have set up everything that I needed in life back in the Philippines, and there was this like weird craving for me to struggle a little bit in life. I don't know, it's really weird. I guess it's just because everything was given to me as a child, like everything I needed, everything I wanted. I realized I think it's time to experience life on my own. And when I came to Canada, I told them, you will only have to pay for my tuition. I will handle everything else. So my rent, my food, all the wants that I have and whatnot. And even though throughout the whole 2 years that I've been studying, they were putting in money in my bank account that was more than my tuition fees, and they kept saying like, use this money for whatever you want, whatever you need. And I purposefully did not withdraw money that is not part of my tuition fee. And now I'm realizing that my life in the Philippines was really lavish. I started contemplating on my life back home and my life here. Granted that things here are more expensive, especially the services. I remember having my lash extensions done in the Philippines every 2 weeks, and it's in one of the most expensive lash salons in the Philippines. And in here, I can't even afford a mascara. I mean, I don't wear makeup, but I can't even have my lashes done anymore. So I'm really grateful that my parents were able to afford the lifestyle that I had in the Philippines, but I think I'm done with that. I am grateful that I experienced all that. For me, now my thinking is it's time to struggle. It's time to live a little bit, just start to stand on my own feet. And budgeting is a really big part of that, because again, as I told you earlier, I started with money just getting handed to me. I literally didn't have to do anything. But now I have to work for my money. And I think that's where the survival skills thingy comes along, because that's the main thing that I'm looking for in myself right now. I feel like I've been not really domesticated, but I've been taken care of very well my whole life, that I want to know if I can truly survive this world alone. And making money, spending money, investing money, that is a huge part of it, especially as an accounting girly. and as someone who has a boyfriend who is all about finance. I do want to acknowledge that money isn't everything, but I also want to acknowledge that money is very, very important. I can never feel secure if I don't have an emergency fund, and I can never feel prepared for the future unless I know I'm saving money and investing money. That's why whether I'm earning less or earning more, budgeting has always been essential to my life. Now, with all these years of budgeting, I have created a simple budgeting system that works perfectly for me in my current lifestyle. I only use two things, my two best budgeting buddies, to help me keep track of everything that I make and everything that I spend. I also use these two amazing tools to budget and to look into my budget variance every end of the month. I want to introduce you guys to I don't know if I want to say this is the best budgeting app, but it's the only app that I've tried. I haven't tried a lot, but this suits my lifestyle. It suits my taste, my style, and I'm telling you guys, it's really cute. It's called Budget. That's it. I think I've mentioned budget in a couple of other videos too, but I'm finally walking you through how it goes, what it looks like, and how I use it for everyday budgeting. The reason why I can't let go of this app is because it's very accessible to me. Imagine it's just on my phone, and whenever I need it, I have it. I even have it on my control center, so when I pull down the control center, I can see the app immediately and I can use it immediately. It's actually become second nature to me that whenever I spend or receive money, I have to open up the app and record that inflow or outflow immediately. Since I have multiple bank accounts, I bank with CIBC, I bank with Wealthsimple, I also have some cash with me. I personally don't want to go through each banks and tally them up just to see my summation in the end. I want to look in one app. I want to look at a consolidated record and see how much I spent either every day, every week, every month. I also have my automatic payments set up under the recurring settings of the app, which helps me a lot when it comes to my rent and my bills. Okay, so let's give you an extensive tour of this app. Let's start with the home. It's very simple. It's just the income and the expense categories, and within those categories I also have subcategories in them. So for example, under household we have rent, Wi-Fi, phone, supplies, and laundry. I try to keep my main categories at a minimal amount just because I don't want my home screen on the app to look cluttered or to look overwhelming. That's why I only have that much categories, and then I just put subcategories in all of them. Okay, now let's move on to the accounts tab of the budget app. Now, as the name goes, it's accounts. It's where we can see everything, a snapshot of all my checking accounts, savings accounts, investment accounts, even my credit card loans and all the other loans I have, which are none. So there you have it. It's a very simple tab. It also shows you your net worth, but I don't really use that amount as my net worth because I have put in literally all my bank accounts in there, even the ones I have in the Philippines, which includes the money that are from my parents, and I don't want to put money that I didn't work for in my actual net worth. But if you want to use this app, just know that you have the option to look into your net worth under the accounts tab, because your assets and your liabilities will be in there in that tab. Now we're on the transactions tab, and let me tell you, I think this is the tab that I visit the most just because I love the calendar view. It shows me how much I've spent and received for each day of the month, and sometimes I make little challenges to myself to see how long I can have that non-spending streak in a week. There's also a tab for statistics, but I rarely look at it because I have my second best budgeting buddy to help me with the statistics that I find helpful for me. Okay, next is the saving tab, and this tab can actually be interchanged with the budget tab. The reason why I don't have it set as the budget tab is because I use my second best budgeting buddy to use to budget. And so I just keep all my savings here. And I find this saving tab to be the most helpful because it lets you set a goal, and it also lets you set like a deadline for you to reach that goal. I also have my sinking funds in this saving tab, so it's really helpful for me. And last but not the least is the setting tab. This is where I can see all my transactions, like the number of my transactions, not actually my transactions. I've been using this app for 2 years now, and that's how I know how helpful this app is. By the way, this app was actually recommended by one of my good friends. When I saw her use this, I was like, I need to get that now. And I even got the premium version because I just know how helpful it will be in the long run. And here we are 2 years later, I'm still using it, and I'm not even planning on not using it. Like, I don't know. I guess unless I find a better app, but I'm not even looking for another app because this is just really perfect for me. Now let's move on to my second best budgeting buddy. Oh my gosh, that is a tongue twister. And that is my very own budgeting template. Okay, fine, let's call it a budgeting template. And I use Google Sheets. Since learning about and deepening my knowledge in Excel, I have been making my own personal budget templates. So for this one, unlike the budget app, which I use as an everyday tool, I only visit my tracker maybe once a week or every time I budget for the next month. And this is where I do all my pondering, because in this tracker is where I put all the visuals or all the charts that I feel like would be most helpful for my budgeting. This tracker is centered around simplicity. I love my personal finance YouTubers, but sometimes their trackers are just too much, too overwhelming, even for me, who is not a beginner in budgeting. I made sure that in this tracker, I'm only seeing the charts that I really need to see. Okay, I digress. Let's just start with the tour of my budget tracker. Okay, so the first worksheet is budget. And as the word goes again, it's where I do my budgeting for the month. So I designed this budget worksheet to be set for the whole year or for every month of the year, mainly because I'm not really planning on changing my expenses every month. And with my budget, my set budget, I've already inputted the amounts that I'd want to put in my sinking funds. So each of the expense categories, I input a budget, even if I don't plan on spending on it every month, just so if I don't spend any money on that category, I can put it as a sinking fund, put it in the savings tab in my budget app, and grow that money over time. Okay, now for the accounts worksheet, this is where I track my actual net worth. Again, when I mentioned about the budget app, I told you guys that all my accounts are in there, including the ones that my parents have set up for me. But in this budget tracker, I only have what I personally made and what I personally spent. So in here is my actual net worth. My actual assets are on the left, my actual liabilities are on the right side. And the chart that you see at the top is just a visual representation of both tables that you see at the bottom. Okay, so now let's move on to what I think is the most complex worksheet in this budget tracker, and that is the transactions tab. And again, as the name goes, because we're very simple here, whatever is on the worksheet, I'll just put in the name. All my transactions are there, all my inflows, all my outflows for the month. I can also see my expected versus actual expenses and savings there, and my year-to-date income as well. I also just have a few charts below every month just to see what took up most of my expenses for the month, what inflow categories contributed to my inflows for the month, and whether I took out or saved money that month. Okay, and last but not the least is the annual overview. This gives me a bird's eye view of everything that I input in this budget tracker. You'll see there my income, my expenses, my savings per month. You also see there the categories of all my expenses and my investments. And I also look into my essential versus non-essential spending per month. Okay, so now that I've shown you my very simple system, very simple, and I just have my two best buddies with me. Now it's time to share with you three tips to get you started with budgeting and to help you stay consistent with budgeting. The first tip I can give to you is to think about the budgeting style that will fit your lifestyle the most. I've mentioned the word lifestyle I don't know how many times in this video, but that just means that lifestyle is a really big factor when it comes to budgeting. For example, for me, I love taking some time every Sunday to look into my budget to see where I spend, where I can't spend anymore, or where I can just transfer some money from one category to another. Maybe Sunday wouldn't work for you. Maybe Sunday is not your reset day, and that's okay. You can choose any day of the week. If you also want to reflect on your spending monthly instead of weekly, feel free to do that as well, especially when you're just starting out. Just try and see what feels good for you, and please don't overwhelm yourself. But when you get the hang of it, I really do recommend reflecting on your spending every week, every end of the week, and budgeting every end of the month. Okay, second tip is don't overcomplicate it. Again, oh my gosh, I think this is the biggest ick I have when it comes to personal finance and budgeting, and it's just overcomplicating things, putting stuff in your budget tracker that you don't even need. I mean, it looks good in your budget tracker because you have like all those pie charts, the line charts, all the charts in the world, even the waterfall combo chart, whatnot. But at the end of the day, the question is, do you need it? Does it serve a purpose for your budgeting? So don't overcomplicate it, especially when you're just a beginner. I don't care if you start with a pen and paper like I did. Just focus on building a budget or a budgeting system that actually helps you. And the last tip I would like to leave you is to attach budgeting into something that you already do. I love this tip so much because it will definitely help you make budgeting feel more naturally with you. And along with that, it'll also be easier for you to make it a habit, just like what I did for myself. And yeah, again, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the budget app, every time I spend something or every time I receive any money, that is like a trigger for me to open the app and make sure that I input the inflow or outflow immediately. And every Sunday, which I treat as a reset day, I automatically think that I need to also reset my budget, and therefore feeling the need to visit my tracker every Sunday. And lastly, after I receive my last paycheck of the month, that's also a trigger for me to visit my budget tracker to let myself know that I need to budget now for the next month because I'm not receiving any more paychecks for the current month. So whether you start with a pen and paper like I did in high school, or if you want to jump in and try on the budget app that I use, the important thing is to start budgeting. I really hope this video gave you an idea on how to build your own simple budgeting system. And if you have any tips, if you have any apps that you want to share, just put them down in the comments below, and we'd love to learn from everyone here, right? So that's it for me today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!